YouTube, how we doing? Today we're going to be going over quarterback predictions for this offseason. Combine's about to start up. Moves are going to be starting to make. The rumors are intensifying, and we're going to be going into pretty much all the quarterbacks that are most likely going to be moved this offseason. Some of them are going to be moved. Some of them are going to stay with their teams. There's going to be some crazy ones. There's going to be some ones that are pretty much expected at this point. So definitely be sure to check out all the way to the end of the video because, we're not just going to start off with all the big names. They're going to be mixed in and out. But definitely the last one's going to be the craziest one. So be sure to stick around for that. If you guys are new to the channel, like it says on the screen here, please be sure to subscribe, to like, to comment down below, what team you're a fan of. Maybe you need a quarterback, or maybe you have a quarterback that you're selling this offseason. There's a lot of guys that look like they might be on the move, which is going to be crazy to see. And of course, go check out my big board at the top of the description. I update that pretty much daily as well. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started with our first quarterback. And that first quarterback is Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo is a guy who has been talked about in trade talks for honestly over a year now. But now, Trey Lance has been there. He's developed. He's set. So I have him going to Denver. And with Denver, it's an interesting situation because they could do a lot of different things with the quarterback position. We've seen Aaron Rodgers. We've seen Carson Wentz. We've seen Deshaun Watson. We've seen it all. For me, it all depends on where Rodgers goes. I think Rodgers is going to be the first kind of QB to move because a lot of these teams, Rodgers is going to be their top option. And, for me, Denver just didn't have the same capital that the other team did. So right now I have Jimmy Garoppolo going to the 49ers for Ronald Darby and pick 40. I think that's pretty fair for both teams. Ronald Darby could help out and get some more defensive back depth for the Niners, which we know they've lacked for a long time, but they've shown some flashes of. And then pick 40, it's a pretty high second-round pick, and you're getting Jimmy Garoppolo, and Garoppolo can go to the Broncos. And, Garoppolo is not a bad quarterback. He definitely is not. He's probably if I had to guess, in the free agent market or in the trade market, other than Deshaun Watson and Aaron Rodgers off the top of my head, I think Garoppolo is that next best guy. So, yeah, definitely getting a guy here in Jimmy G that could, do a lot for Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy, and Cortland Sutton. You got Noah Fant, Javonte Williams. They said they want to bring Melvin Gordon back. And Ronald Darby's a big contract. So you free up that money off of Ronald Darby. You get a quarterback. You give up your second-round pick, so you can still spend that first-round pick on another cornerback to replace Ronald Darby. I think that's an awesome move for both teams there. And I think that, like I said, benefits both teams, but also the Broncos. Although they miss out on Aaron Rodgers, they're still looking like a surefire playoff contender with Jimmy G at the helm. Then we're going to go over to Deshaun Watson. I have the Washington Commanders snagging Deshaun Watson, and it's going to be for a pretty penny, too. It's not going to be something that is super cheap. What I have the deal being is Washington's going to send pick 11, their 2022 second-round pick, so this year's second-round pick as well, and then their first and second next year. So first and second this year, first and second next year, and then also Landon Collins because of the money situation, and Montez Sweat. Now, Houston's going to send back Deshaun Watson and Rex Burkhead. Burkhead's just kind of a throw-in. Maybe you don't have to replace J.D. McKissick because Burkhead can do kind of those similar things. But in reality, this is probably going to be Gibson's backfield. But, giving up first and seconds this year and next year is a lot of money or a lot of talent you could be giving up. But, Deshaun Watson is a top talent. He really is. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, if not the best when he's playing. He led the league in passing his last season that he did play. And then for Houston, you're getting a bunch of young picks to spend. So now you're going to have pick 3 and pick 11 in the draft, which is awesome. You're going to have another second-round pick. You're going to have a first and second next year. So helps out that rebuilding and retooling as well. You get Landon Collins, who maybe he just gets cut after he gets signed to Washington, which is probably the more likely option. But also they do need safety help, so maybe they keep Landon Collins around while the team is cheap. And then Montez Sweat, one of the better young edge rushers in the game. You got to give up something value to get Deshaun Watson. I think Montez Sweat is a good thing for Washington to send because you do have Ioannidis, you do have Chase Young, you do have Deron Payne, you do have Jonathan Allen. So the D-line's not going to really suffer losing Sweat, but Sweat definitely is a top-tier caliber player. But to fix the franchise and start off this new era of the Commanders with Deshaun Watson at the helm, throwing to Terry McLaurin, oh, man, I would love to see it. I think it'd be perfect for Ron Rivera and the Commanders as they go into this new part of history is what I'll call it. Then we go over to the Carolina Panthers getting Carson Wentz, and this is going to be a straight-up trade for Wentz and Darnold. They're just going to swap them. I think that the Colts could see Darnold maybe with the more upside, behind a great O-line, see what he can do behind a very fantastic O-line, because he really hasn't had that in his career. And he's a little bit cheaper than what Wentz is, not by too much, but about $10 million almost. And then Carson Wentz going to Carolina, you see what you can get out of Carson Wentz. Maybe you draft a rookie quarterback. It's probably what I would guess. Maybe they get a Malik Willis or something. But Carson can definitely still play. He's not the worst quarterback. He showed some flashes where it's like, okay, this guy's still Carson Wentz of old. And he showed some games like Jacksonville where it's like, okay, this guy might not even be a starter anymore. But he is a former top 2 pick, and I think that Carolina can see what they can get out of him before he transitions from being a starter to a fringe starter, solid backup kind of role, which I don't think Wentz is there yet. But yeah, just a straight up swap. That's why Darnold's not going to have his own piece in this video, but it's a straight up swap for Wentz and Darnold. I just think it kind of benefits both teams, gives them both chances to not only see what they have in that other quarterback, but it also gives them an opportunity to both look at drafting a quarterback, which I think would be good for them as well. Teddy Bridgewater, I have him going to Chicago to back up Justin Fields. I have it as a 2-year, $18 million deal with an opt-out after 1 year. I figured Foles is going to get cut, and if you want to back up Justin Fields, or even somebody that maybe can play a little bit to let Fields grow a little bit more if you want that, Teddy B is a great spot to be in. He had, again, flashes of looking like he's a starting quarterback in this league, and then some other games where he just really didn't look too great. I think that he, at most, is a serviceable backup, but a possible bridge quarterback. And I think that that's a perfect spot for him to go with Chicago, because he's going to play a very similar style to what Justin Fields does. He can help Justin Fields as well. But at the same time, 2-year deal, if he plays really well, or maybe Fields isn't playing well, you're good. But if you opt out after 1 year, maybe after the 1 year, you're like, listen, we don't need to be paying $9 million to our backup. Fields is now a top 10 quarterback, if that's the case. It gives you that flexibility. So I think that that's good. You're getting one of the better premier backups. You're signing him for more money than a lot of these other guys are going to get as that backup role, but you can opt out after 1. I think that's a solid spot for Teddy Bridgewater to go. Jameis Winston, I got him sticking with New Orleans. 2 years, $24 million is what I have him going. They almost made the playoffs with horrible QB play. And he played above expectations. He wasn't the Jameis of old in a lot of those games. He wasn't just throwing the ball up, interception. 30 interceptions is a lot of interceptions, and he's done that in his career. But yeah, New Orleans was a good team last year, and in reality, they have a lot of cap space that is already taken up, and they can't really do much with it. So instead of trying to bring in somebody new, I think that you stick with a guy who you've been grooming for 2 years now. His injury was horrible, obviously, but you get him back on the field. Michael Thomas will be back on the field. I think that that's a duo that they wanted to see and they never got to. So I think Jameis Winston is a perfect situation for New Orleans to just keep in-house. He's been groomed since Breeze was there. I think you just stick with Jameis. You don't overthink it. You go there. I have the Cleveland Browns getting Gardner Minshew. Now, this is a kind of it's a two for one. It's a quarterback trade, but it's a receiver trade, because I have the Browns giving up Jarvis Landry to the Eagles for pick 122 and Gardner Minshew. The Browns are probably going to try and shed Jarvis's contract, so instead of cutting him, sending him to a team like the Eagles, who could definitely use some receiver help, and a guy like Jarvis would do a lot for a team like the Eagles. I think he would like to be in Philly as well. I think that's a good spot for him. And the Browns are getting back Gardner Minshew, who is a really good backup. I'd say one of the best backups in football, honestly. And, if Baker just doesn't seem like he's getting any better, if he's not the guy and you want to move on from him, maybe you see what you have in Gardner. And then pick 122 is just a good consolation prize as well. So instead of trading Jarvis for just a pick or something, you probably can get a third for Jarvis, if I had to guess. But, you downgrade it to a 4th-round pick. You get Gardner Minshew in it as well. I think that's a solid trade for both teams. I think that there's no way that the Eagles would say no to that. Getting a star receiver and, giving up your backup quarterback and a mid-pick, I think that's a very solid trade for both teams. Now we go over to the 49ers signing Tyrod Taylor. He is known for going to teams that have young quarterbacks and those quarterbacks turning up for whatever reason. So I have him getting him on a 1-year deal. Between like $3 to $5 million is what I'd have him. He plays very similar to what Lance does, so I think that that's good. And he looked good at the beginning of the season, and then the injury kind of derailed his season. But yeah, he went to Houston and started. He looked pretty good, got hurt, and in came Davis Mills, and Mills played well. Went to Cleveland, played well, got hurt. Baker Mayfield comes in. Went to the Chargers. His lung got punctured with a shot from the team doctor. Herbert's now one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So he's on this trend of doing this to many teams where they're just, he just is there and they end up having a blossom. So either he's a great teacher or it's just some crazy coincidence. But I think sending him to the Niners, where now they don't have Jimmy Garoppolo, you get a veteran who can play and also can be a very solid backup with a similar game plan. I think that Shanahan would have a good time with Tyrod being the backup. I think he'd still be able to keep this team afloat. I got Mitch Trubisky going to the Steelers here. A one-year deal for $10 million. Overpaying a little bit because of potential, but securing your guy. Because I think that they probably will draft a rookie quarterback if I had to make a guess. But I just don't see a way that they really want to keep Rudolph and Haskins. I think they're just trying to keep it in-house on what their plan is. But we've seen them linked to Trubisky. And Trubisky, he was solid as a backup in Buffalo. He was a decent quarterback. He's been a Pro Bowler before, but he needs another shot in the NFL as a starting quarterback. I think he deserves another shot. So Pittsburgh is a good spot for him. I think that he can go to Pittsburgh and, if after this 1-year deal he looks like a franchise quarterback, you can extend him, or go to another team. But you could also draft a rookie quarterback, which I think they will. Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral, Ritter, somebody like that. And then Trubisky can be that bridge. But 1 year, $10 million, not much to say about it. He's going to be the starter for this season and see where it goes from there. But I think that that's a solid thing. Cam Newton got paid $6 million to go back to Carolina. I think paying Trubisky $10 million to be the starter in Pittsburgh, especially when money's not tight, but you're going to have to pay more to get somebody to come there because that offensive line is just not desirable, but the weapons are. He's got Najee Harris, he's got Deontay, he's got Freiermuth, he's got Claypool. Maybe they bring Juju back. But yeah, O-line's got to get better. Trubisky can kind of bridge his way to the next franchise quarterback or possibly even become that. So I like Trubisky a lot for the Steelers. We got Marcus Mariota now. He's going to Houston. We saw Tyrod is gone now. Deshaun Watson's gone, so it's Davis Mills' show. I have the Texans signing Marcus Mariota, 2 years, $12 million, $6 million a year basically. Just being one of the better backups in the league for sure. I mean, if they don't like what they have in Davis Mills, I think Mariota deserves another shot as a starter. So seeing him go to Houston would not be bad at all. I just think that you look at it, Davis Mills, he showed flashes, but is it possible that he's not really that good of a quarterback? It is possible. Is it possible he's a franchise quarterback? That's also possible as well. I think it's more possible he's not. But getting Mariota on a 2-year deal, it allows you to where if Davis Mills is really just playing bad and maybe you just judged him wrong, maybe you thought wrong on him if you're Houston, you have a great quarterback as a backup in Marcus Mariota that can step in and probably be a starter and bridge to the next franchise guy, or again be that guy that can get an extension maybe. But you have him for 2 years, $12 million. I think that's a solid place for him to go. I think that it gives him an opportunity to possibly start, which is more than he has in Vegas. I think that Mariota and the Texans would be able to agree to terms and get a good deal going. Now with Mitch Trubisky on his way out, I have Cam Newton. I pondered just giving him retirement, but I'm going to have the Bills sign him for about $4 million. He's another big quarterback that can run, very similar to Josh Allen, so I think that he just fits the backup scheme there as well. If he just doesn't want to be a backup, I think he will retire, but this also gives him an opportunity to go and chase that ring. Bills are one of the best teams in football. You go and back up Josh Allen, and if Josh Allen happens to go down with the injury, you will get that shot with a very talented team. So Cam Newton, I think this would be a very good spot for Cam to go. I think that Buffalo is probably the best spot for him to go, honestly, because of the play style of Josh Allen and because of the opportunity to go out there and compete for a championship right away. We got 2 more, and then we're going to get to the big one. Now, Jacoby Brissett is going to the Raiders, for my opinion. $5 million of 1 year, not 5 years. $5 million for 1 year to just replace Mariota. That's all he's going to do. Derek Carr is most likely getting an extension is what we're hearing. So, Brissett's been one of the best backup quarterbacks in football for a long time. Keep him behind Derek Carr, and if Derek Carr happens to have an injury or something, I think Brissett steps in and can lead this Raiders team back to the playoffs as well, as we've seen with Derek Carr doing it as well. So I think Brissett's just a good backup to have. I don't see him sticking around in Miami. I think that Las Vegas is going to give him a little bit better of a shot. Then going on to Andy Dalton to Cincinnati. Returning to Cincy, being the backup for Joe Burrow, it kind of just fits well play style wise. 1 year, $5 million deal. I just like him. They don't really have the best quarterback room behind Burrow. So I think getting a guy like Andy Dalton, a reunion, I think he'll be happy to be back. I think it's kind of cool to see. Not much more to say. And then we're going to get into the very last of the bunch, and we all know it's Aaron Rodgers. By the way, I didn't even mention I'm wearing my Washington football team shirt because Deshaun Watson was earlier on in this, and Washington was going to get a quarterback in this video. We should have known. But before we get into it, I was trying to find trade ideas online and seeing what are some and seeing the packages people were making up, and ironically I couldn't find a package that gave up more than this. And obviously I would love this, but it just made sense, and I'll talk about it more. I got Aaron Rodgers going to the New York Giants. Their cap space isn't the best, and that is a big deal. But there's no team that can offer 2 first-round picks in the top 10, in the top 7. There's no team that can offer in the top 7, but there's no team that can offer in the top 10 other than the Jets, and I don't see the Jets moving for Aaron Rodgers. So what the trade is here is I have the Giants sending pick 5, pick 7, their second-round pick next year, their second-round pick in 2024. They're also sending Daniel Jones, and I have Darius Slayton on there because it's what I was seeing, but I would probably expect them to try for Kadarius Toney instead of Slayton. So either one of those I think gets it done, and the Packers are just sending Aaron Rodgers. So shout out to Sportsnot for the idea. That's where I got it, sportsnot.com. Like I said, maybe a switch from Toney to Toney from Slayton. But here's the plan I have. So you look at it from the Packers' perspective. Why would they do this? Well, you're getting Aaron Rodgers out of here. Maybe he just says I'm not playing here anymore. You need to get the best deal possible. Pick 5 and pick 7 are very, very valuable. Very valuable. You can immediately turn that into offensive line help to finish up the rebuild of the offensive line. You can get whatever receiver you want to replace Devontae Adams if he walks. Then you're getting 2 second-round picks in the next 2 years to add to that as well. You get Daniel Jones, who can start if Jordan Love isn't ready, or if Jordan Love starts and he isn't looking too good, you have Daniel Jones to back him up. He's on last year of his deal unless you pick up the option. I think it gives you flexibility. And then you're getting either Darius Slayton or Kadarius Toney to also help out that receiver room, because this is a team that doesn't have much cap space. So yes, getting rid of Aaron Rodgers is going to help. And Daniel Jones, Darius Slayton, or Toney, they're all young rookie contracts, so you're not going to get a lot. And you're also getting 4 rookies as well in pick 5, 7, and the 2 seconds the next 2 years. So I think that is a big haul for the Packers for, in reality, a quarterback that's damn near 40. He might play for 1 year and retire, and now the Giants have given up basically their whole future for that 1 year. So I think that is a huge haul. And you compare it to what the Broncos can send. The Broncos can send multiple firsts as well, but these are 2 guaranteed top 7 picks. That is huge. Top seven picks. Those are invaluable. That is immense value. It is huge to be that much. And then we look at it from the Giants side. Why would the Giants do this? Well, Giants have one of the better defenses in football when they're playing. They get a new GM in Joe Shane. They get a new coach in Dable. They get a new coordinator in Kafka from the Chiefs. They get a defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, one of the most respected defensive coordinators in the league. This is a complete overhaul. This is not for a team that wants to rebuild again. This is for a team that wants to compete. And why not swing for the fences with picks and players that you did not take as Joe Shane in this coaching staff? You get rid of those and you package you get Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers now is going to free up Saquon Barkley a lot more because people are going to be worried more about the pass. You still have Kenny Golladay on the outside, Sterling Shepard when he's healthy, and depending on who's moved, Slayton or Toney in that third option. Tight end position is going to be a question mark. We'll see what happens there, but offensive line play is really the biggest worry. Andrew Thomas is locked in to protect, but you are losing that, so probably the second-round pick is going to be used at offensive line. But the defense, remains the same. You got McKinney, who's looking like a star in the making. You got James Bradbury, one of the better corners in the league. You got a great defensive line with Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Ojulari off the edge. So this is a team that definitely, with Aaron Rodgers, I think is a playoff team right away. What I think happens is they get Aaron Rodgers, they extend him for 2 years. So he's going to have a total of 3 years with the Giants. And I view this as what Brady did and what Peyton did. Peyton went to a team in the Broncos that needed a quarterback. They got the quarterback, and they instantly became contenders. Brady went to the Buccaneers, who had a good team but weren't really contending. Get their quarterback, become contenders. So very similar to the Giants, man. Need that quarterback play to be more superior, and then you can instantly be contending. So I think that he's going to try and have that revival and that Super Bowl win within 3 years. Remember, Peyton went and lost, and then he had one of the best seasons. This is a guy who's back-to-back MVP. So it's not necessarily going to happen year 1, but it could happen in the next year or 2 or maybe 3. But he's going to have 3 years with the Giants before he retires. And I think whenever he wins that rings, he's going to call it quits like Peyton did. Peyton won his ring. It's like, yep, this is it. I'm done. So I think that would be a perfect spot for Rodgers. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. I know some of these are crazy and some of these are outlandish, and I wanted to do that because if I just came on here, Aaron Rodgers to Denver, Deshaun Watson to Carolina, like if I just did like the very basic ones, Jimmy G to the Steelers, it's just redundant and it's not new. This is new, and I'm giving you trades that, hey, this is what happens. So you can look at the value and say, okay, I think that's a good trade. That's definitely a good trade, and it makes sense for both teams, but I would rather get this package if I was the Packers, or I would rather get this package if I'm Houston. So let me know what your trades are in the comment section below. I want to know what your trade would be if your team is trading for Deshaun Watson or Aaron Rodgers. Let me know. It really would help out the channel as well if you would leave a like and subscribe. We've been doing daily videos for about a week now. I'm trying to keep up with that, so it would help out a ton if you were able to do that. But of course, like I said, please be sure to leave that like if you did enjoy. But if you didn't, that's okay. Just refresh the page and check it out a second time and let me know what you think. But without further ado, that's going to be for me. Make sure you click on one of these videos that's about to pop up on your screen and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Look at the time and better don't stop. Let it go by, no, not on my watch. I do this here on my own time. Time is money, so I did it on my own dime. Word to Bookie, yeah, that's how much gave me game. Yeah, he taught me family ties, quick to back then. It's up off me, now I can't wait for you.